Hi everyone, greetings from National Skills Network. We are here today with a very interesting and a hot topic in training, I should be saying, and this has to do with drone training and the scope for jobs, employment and entrepreneurship in the area of drone technologies. And we have with us today Mr. Dinakar Devireddy, who's the head of Drone Academy, which is a part of Aviation Academy from the government of Telangana. So welcome to this talk, sir.
Thank you.
So as all of us know, today that drones are being used in multiple industries for various reasons, and it is no longer limited to photography or things which are more at the level of hobbies and interests. So maybe, we can get started by asking you, what is the scope for, drone training today, and how do you see the industry picking up, because it's still called as sunrise sector?
Yeah, see, that's a good question. See, drone training is slightly different from the other trainings. See, because for the reason that drones can bring a lot of good. And there is a lot of other things which are attached to these drones. See, drones fly in the air, right? So then airspace is very premium and is also very security related and concerned area. Right? So civil Department of Civil Aviation controls the civilian airspace. Though there is an airspace for defense also, but Department of Civil Aviation controls this. Particularly under aid, there's a regulator called DGCA, Director General of Civil Aviation. So this is a regulatory body which controls the airspace. So here, earlier it was only aircrafts, civilian transport or military aircrafts which were flying in the air. Now this drone has come. So this is new to civilian airspace, basically, because drones also have to share the same airspace with the aircrafts, right? So when there is a conflict of drones which are unmanned, basically, drone generally are unmanned. So there is no person sitting on the aircraft. So mind you that DGCA considers drones and civilian aircrafts as aircrafts only.
Okay.
Their differentiation is manned and unmanned only. So all the civilian aircrafts are manned, all the drones are unmanned. So now you see a lot of rules which are originally prescribed for civilian aircrafts apply to drones also, right? So why I'm giving this background is that it is not the training is not as simple as any other skill. There are some regulatory things which are obviously have to be applied to these trainings. So so DGCA has come up with a regulation where it has allowed certain companies, what they call as FTOs, flight training organizations, in its original format to start the drone pilot trainings. We are also the FTOs, that is flight training organization. We also train commercial pilots. We have a fleet of 7 aircrafts with us. So all around India, around 30 odd FTOs are there. So out of which whoever have shown interest, DGCA has given the permission to start training. So we are one among them. But later to drone rules 2021, it is still more liberalized. Non-FTOs, non-flight training organizations have also started drone pilot training. Of course, they have to follow certain rules and regulations prescribed by DGCA. So, and there is a steady increase of flight training schools or what they call now as RPTOs, Remote Pilot Training Organizations. So earlier it was, I think we started at 8 into 2020. Now I think the list has gone around 30 or 40, I guess. I don't know, and it will increase. This is the only way going
Is
forward.
all over India or
Yeah, all over India.
all over India, right?
Yeah.
So also, like I was mentioning earlier this to you, like because we from NSN have been closely following the drone training related developments in terms of skilling and coming up with schools for training, we noticed that the government has really given a big push even in terms of the recent budget, and also like reduce, like you said, liberalizing and also abolishing few rules and things like that which were pretty strict. So with all these changing circumstances, how is the ecosystem shaping up? Like for example, let's say there are people who want to enroll for these courses, so how much do you think they will be, they will have to spend in terms of fee, and what would be the kind of jobs, and can you tell us a bit more about this?
Yeah. So see, all these I can tell about all the FTOs which they have started, the drone pilot trainings who are approved by DGCA. So the fee ranges from say um, uh, 45 or 48,000 to 65,000.
Okay.
We agree that it is on a higher side. The reason being there are some inherent costs involved in complying to the rules and regulation. There's a dearth of trained trainers who can train the students.
Okay.
Also. That's one big thing there.
Yeah.
And because it's a very new subject.
Yeah.
And also there is consumables and drones themselves. Those are also costlier equipment, and they are prone to accidents, and they might get into a destruction mode while they are in training, because we are in the process of training. So those are also things. There are some costs involved which has risen this fee thing. It should be lower. I think market forces will get involved, because there is a obviously there will be competition between the training institutes. So eventually I would see that in an year or so the fees will come down. But I'm happy to share that Telangana State Aviation Academies, our drone academies, fees is the lowest.
Oh.
It is 48,000 plus GST. That is the lowest amongst the others.
Yeah, and the duration of this course, like say the drone pilot training course, what would be the typical duration?
Yeah, typical duration is 5 days.
5 days.
Yeah. So now, so this I've been asked this question, and no, people get surprised. No, so what will happen? Is this 5 days enough? I would answer by saying yes and no. Yes, on the end of the 5th day, you would be able to fly without an instructor.
Okay.
That is called a solo flight.
Okay.
So we'll make sure that no, you do that, right? So that is possible. But again, this is a skill. It needs to be acquired. So it should have a lifelong passion to continue that skill, so that you develop that skill. So, and again, this training currently we are doing is for VLOS. We say VLOS is a visual line of sight. That means at all times the drone should be in your eye contact. So there is one more training called BVLOS, that is beyond visual line of sight. For example, the pilot will be flying a drone. It will take off from here and say it will be doing its job some 200 or 100 kilometers away.
Okay.
Right. So that's a different training altogether. But the current training, all the RPTOs are giving now is VLOS training.
First one. So it would be nice to also illustrate this with an example, because I think the audience are also curious to know, because it's so new. The first one, I understood it more like, from my knowledge, if you are spraying pesticide, in a farm, maybe that's within my reach. I can see it. I can see where the drone is going. Am I right? Is my understanding correct?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, pesticide drones are heavily used in India currently.
Okay.
And it is from a regulator point of view and from a law enforcement point of view, agriculture drones are highly, they are slightly risk-free. Risk-free, and the reason is that normally spraying is done at a lower height. So you will not spray either a fertilizer or a pesticide in 200 feet or 400 feet height. You will just hover around just some 4 or 5 feet above the crop.
Yeah.
So in the event of any malfunction of a drone, or God forbid something happens, it will just fall on the field. So it will not hurt anyone.
Right.
Basically. So that's the major worry for regulator or the law enforcement. So that way it is easier. That's the reason you see a lot of drones are adopted in agriculture field, and government is also pushing with programs to do that.
Yeah. And also another example, I think, would be the mining industry, because we read that mining industry also uses drones.
Yeah. Yeah.
So is that also in the same gamut of things, or?
Yes. Yeah. So mining is also very important, and there is a regulator for mining called Indian Bureau of Mines.
Okay.
Yeah. So the regulator has mandated all the mines across India to use drones.
Okay.
So what the mine owner regularly has to do is to file certain requirements to the regulator, that how much ore he has taken out, what environment he has affected, and all those things have to be submitted.
Okay.
So earlier it was all paperwork. So what the regulator now wants is a digital format, that too in a drone, so that the data will not lie, the digital data, so that he can easily calculate what amount of ore or overburden is removed from that mine, so that he gets the correct calculation of the royalty which he needs to pay to the government, so that there is no revenue leakage. So that's the major thing. So, and again, mines, if you surprising it might be, that no mine will be in the cities or any where people are in habitations. All mines invariably are in a remote places.
Yes.
Basically. So, and again, in a mine, if something happens to a drone, it falls there, so it will not harm anyone. And that's also one of the reasons that it is considered as low risk operations, drone operations in mining area. And mining and agriculture, the adoption rate is huge.
Okay.
And it is for mining, it is directly coming from the regulator saying that, see, you have to use drones and you have to supply me with drone data only. So then it has become a mandatory requirement for all the owners.
Yeah. And next industry, I think I would like to ask you more about construction industry, because we read that there is surveying. Is that the survey part of it? That's where the drones are used in construction.
Yeah.
Does it also fall under the same category, or is it different?
Yeah, construction monitoring and also inspection.
Okay.
Inspection, construction, and also mapping. Both all the three are related. Mapping basically takes the imagery of the land use, photographs of the landscape, and no, you can prepare a land use map out of it. So I think India is now currently doing one project called Swamitva. It is Swamitva project. It is one of the very ambitious, I think, not done anywhere in the world. So a lot of people may not know, but it's not done anywhere in the world, where the entire land holdings of the farmers and the villages have been mapped through a drone.
Yeah.
And then the ownership is really identified and given away, just like a Aadhaar card, right? Yeah. So no, the tenement or that ownership is not challenged. This is as per law. That tenement cannot be challenged in the courts. No, that kind of a very strong, clear title is what is planned. So there is at any point of time, there are hundreds of drones flying in India for this Swamitva projects currently.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And besides this, we also hear that healthcare sector has been using drones. So that also come under this category, or is it something different?
So healthcare is basically, I'm not a big fan of that at the moment.
Okay.
But those are basically proof of concepts. So proof of concepts where no, you have a remote area and there is an ability to transfer either any emergency medical equipment or replacements or even organs. So that proof of concepts has been proven.
Yeah.
So to scale that and really use it is no, that business model has to come up.
Okay.
There's no proven business model where who will pay for that and know how this will work out. So this works mostly in the remote areas, basically, mostly on the northeast side or some of the remote parts of India. So this might work, but the technology is there. It is proven also. There are several use cases in COVID. They have actually transported vaccines through drones. So those are there, but scaling up, it cannot be matched with the examples what I gave earlier with agriculture or mining. No, those are very clear cases, and a lot of work is going on already.
Okay. So from the description, the explanation that you gave so far about the industries, what I can see is that one is it's like where no human being can go or where it is not safe for the human being to go, drones are effectively taking up those tasks.
Yeah.
And the other one is, of course, when you want efficiency and all that, like the agriculture example you gave, and also scaling it perhaps and things like that, and also saving the pesticide, or rather there could be many reasons, right? So these are things which we can understand. Now when these people get trained as drone pilots, what is the avenue for them? How do they look for these jobs, or do they become entrepreneurs themselves, or what do they do in today's scenario, and how do you see this shaping up in the next few years?
Yeah, so I can tell I have some data which I speak with conviction here, that we have when I see the previous students, all our previous students, they are not looking for jobs. Basically, they all are looking for So all of most of our students, they want to start a business, maybe a service business. Some are looking at to start their own assembly. Some of the students want to get into repair and services. Some wanted to lease the drone. No, some wanted to do some data analytics. So a lot of things they are planning. But I can say for sure that there is a huge requirement at the moment for drone pilots.
Hmm.
A huge requirement, which is not met.
Okay.
So yeah, training is the first part, and also what industry is also seeking is not just drone piloting. That means not just flying a drone, but also to do something after that. That
Right.
means you fly a drone for a purpose, right? That purpose would be to do some data analytics, or
Hmm.
take data acquisition, basically for mapping or inspection or construction inspection. You
Hmm.
acquire data, so the data needs to be processed, and then insights generated and reports made,
Hmm.
right? So the industry is looking for that resource who is trained in all of these activities.
Hmm.
What industry wants is he wants the person to be a pilot, and also to acquire the data and also process it, and also give the report and insight. So those kind of skills are in very high demand. Very high.
Okay, this is interesting because till now we saw that pilot could be a profile for which certain skills are required. But if you're combining it with data analysis and reports and things, who are the likely people who will apply for these courses? I mean, what would be their background? Ideally, what should they have in their background? Like, a science graduate or whatever kind of, yeah.
So what happens here is drone piloting and data acquisition is supports the domain skill. Basically, what happens is a person from the mapping background or the survey background looks drone piloting and the data acquisition and processing as an additional qualification, as an upskill for his already acquired domain.
Hmm.
Yeah. So for just to give another example, if you see currently any movie, for that matter, any serial, you will have at least 30% of the footage in the drone footage on.
Yes, yes.
Right? So who are these people? So see, I train drone pilots, but they cannot take that kind of a footage. So the people who are already cinematographers, who are experts in photography, they come and then they get trained as drone pilots, and then they actually generate that kind of a footage. So domain actually drives the drone piloting career, basically.
It's right, very rightly you said, it's upskilling and
Yeah,
applying that skill to
yeah,
enhance myself to the next level. I
yeah.
think it's also to do with, like, you gave a very good example about this cinematography and the serials and documentaries that we see, the beautiful ones where they capture the entire landscape and all that. I think that's a very nice example which our audience will be able to appreciate, because so there we are saying that a photographer can become can enhance his or her level of skills by using drones, right?
Yes,
In
yes.
photography. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is one example. Now, for the other things, like you already mentioned, no, a drone pilot should have a few other, other than the domain, the analytical skills and other skills. So those, are they trained in your training academy, or do they have to acquire it from elsewhere?
No, I'm planning to start that those trainings also very soon. Maybe in a month or so, we will start that, because what we thought is no, we need to complete that cycle. So,
Okay.
so okay, we have taught him how to fly and
Hmm.
do the flying, but flying is done for a purpose. So once that is there, there are a lot of photogrammetric softwares which do the no, it takes the input from the drone and
Hmm.
does a lot of analytics again.
Hmm.
So again, the experience and the domain experience also is required there. So
Right.
it's not just no, just to put that data into that software, and the other end you'll get an insight. So that needs to be read, that needs to be understood, that needs to be interpreted and analyzed.
Hmm.
So so with the experience what I have observed is the people who already have certain domain skills in certain areas. See, a civil engineer or a polytechnic civil engineer, site engineer is the right guy to get trained in a drone pilot activity, and also to the data analytics and all that. So he uses his civil engineering skills in analyzing the data which is no, brought by the drone.
Right. Yeah. Now, from engineering, I would like to, take you to the ITIs and industrial training institutes. Why I'm saying this is also because, like I was telling you earlier, from the central government, from the ministry, there is a push to create what we call as the qualification packs and the national occupation standards as a part of the skilling program in drones. And I think some movement is there on this towards this direction also, which is aimed at like the drone pilot training, but at a lower level. I don't think that will have analytics and all that. That's my reading, or perhaps it may have. Now, for instance, there are also ITIs, some ITIs in Orissa or in Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, who have already started offering drone courses. And do you see, more prospects for ITIs to pick up this, and also, let's say, connect them with agriculture, or mining or industries which are close to rural areas, because I think this is the way it will grow, right? So how do we take this forward?
Yeah. So ITS, you brought a good point there. See, I'll give an example. See, there are at the moment thousands of drones, agricultural drones, flying in the remotest parts in district headquarters and all that. So these are equipment. Just like for a farmer, there's a farming equipment. So drone is a equipment for him. So
Just
it also,
another.
So it also needs repair and service. So there is a huge depth of service and repair for all this equipment, drone equipment, which needs to be done. So the I think the feeder skill set can come from ITIs. It's a machine. It needs to be repaired. So those courses, if it is effectively run, and those skills, if they are effectively imparted, and that can be a big useful thing to the ecosystem.
And also mentioned one more point which was important, is the instructors, or the people, the trainers. There would be a dearth of them also right now, because it is still picking up. So perhaps you can also and in your academy start looking at that aspect as well. So besides these points, would you want to share anything else with our audience?
Yeah, see, I would say that no, this sector is to stay, and most importantly, the government is pushing it. So earlier it was not that way, but the rules have been liberalized. I think we have one of the most liberal usage of drones anywhere in the world. Yeah. So that way it is policy side. I think it has opened up, and there's a lot of activity going on, and a lot of companies are getting funded who are already as a startups. I see a lot of startups are funded in the last 1 year itself.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of activity in training. I see a lot of activity in manufacturing, and all the ecosystem partners are also getting encouragement through funding and stuff. And I see that this is a skill to acquire in any of the domains, even if you are in an IT, right? Even if you are in any other profession other than what we have discussed. So there is a lot of opportunities on the post flying also. The data which is acquired with drones, what do you do with that? So
Yes.
a lot of things which are also there, which can do there. And I see that this is definitely a sunrise sector, and it will grow. There's all indicators are showing that this is going to be a good sector to be in.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing all the insights and explaining so very beautifully, and I think in a very simple way, so that everybody understands. Because I think today drones are not something very esoteric or very specialized, which is used only in defense or something. It has touched all of us, the civilians, all over the world, and in India especially. Like you said, liberalizing the policy and all has made a huge disruption in the sector. So we look forward to be in touch with you, sir, and learn more about how things are unfolding, because this is just the first talk we had with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye.